When the world gets loud, when distractions come knocking, when everybody's pulling you in 1,000 directions, you got to decide, will you control your focus or let the noise control you? Focus is not a gift, it's a discipline. It's built in the fire of consistency, in the moments where you say no to the world so you can say yes to your purpose. Tonight, I'm not here to talk about surviving the noise. I'm here to show you how to dominate. These are 7 focus tactics that will separate the average from the unstoppable. Silence the external chaos to strengthen your internal clarity is about reclaiming ownership of the one thing most people give away without even noticing: their attention. Every day, the noise of the world competes for space in your mind. Phones buzzing, social media feeds screaming for a response, endless notifications trying to drag you into somebody else's agenda. But if you want to live with focus, if you want to achieve anything beyond mediocrity, you have to become ruthless about shutting out the noise that weakens you. Silence is not just the absence of sound. It is the deliberate creation of space where your mind can breathe, think, and reconnect with your vision. Too many people think they can outwork noise. They think they can grind harder while distractions attack them from every side. But the truth is, you cannot outwork chaos. You must silence it before it consumes your energy. Think about how a lion hunts. It doesn't chase every sound in the jungle. It waits, it listens, it blocks out unnecessary noise until it zones in on the target. Human beings are no different. Focus requires the ability to tune out the environment long enough to hear your own voice, to hear the whisper of your purpose, to listen to the call of your vision. Every great athlete, every great leader, every person who ever left a mark on this world mastered the discipline of silence. They knew that clarity does not come from reacting to everything outside of them. It comes from learning to hear what's inside of them. Silencing chaos doesn't mean running away from life. It means creating filters that guard your energy. It means setting boundaries, saying no when everyone expects you to say yes, and refusing to let someone else's emergency become your priority. People will try to pull you into their noise, arguments, gossip, meaningless debates, trivial demands. If you do not learn to silence this chaos, you become a puppet dancing to strings pulled by distractions. But when you shut it down, when you step back into silence, you step back into control. You remind yourself that not every sound deserves your attention, and not every voice deserves your energy. Look around in today's world. People are drowning in noise. They wake up, and the first thing they do is reach for their phone, flooding their brain with other people's lives before they even remember their own. They check emails, scroll through feeds, chase likes and comments. And by the time they've looked up, half the day is gone, and their mind is scattered. That's not living with clarity. That's living as a hostage to noise. To silence the external chaos, you must be intentional. You must design your mornings, your spaces, your routines in a way that gives you control of the first and last voices you hear every day. Silence is also about respect for your mind. Your mind cannot function at its peak when it is constantly overstimulated. Just like muscles need recovery after intense training, the brain needs silence to process, to connect ideas, to find solutions. That's why some of the greatest breakthroughs in history didn't happen in the middle of chaos. They happened in quiet moments. Einstein walking, Newton under a tree, leaders retreating into solitude before making world-changing decisions. In silence, you find answers you didn't even know you were searching for. But creating silence in a noisy world takes courage, because silence exposes you to yourself. When the external voices fade, you're left with your own thoughts, your own doubts, your own fears. Most people run from silence because they don't want to face what's inside. They hide behind the noise to avoid dealing with the truth. But champions embrace silence. They sit with it. They let it reveal what needs to be fixed, what needs to be healed, what needs to be pursued. Silence becomes not just a refuge, but a weapon, sharpening their clarity until their vision becomes unshakable. Silencing chaos also means choosing your environments wisely. You cannot plant a seed in toxic soil and expect it to grow. If your environment is filled with constant negativity, distraction, or meaningless chatter, you will never hear the call of your purpose. Sometimes silencing chaos is not about shutting out sounds. It's about walking away from certain people, certain spaces, certain patterns that keep you small. It's about understanding that your clarity is worth more than your comfort. And sometimes the price of focus is distance. When you learn to silence the external chaos, you begin to notice how powerful clarity feels. You walk into situations knowing exactly what matters and what doesn't. You make decisions without hesitation because you're not clouded by 10 different opinions. You move with certainty because your vision is clear, not distorted by noise. That's when people start noticing something different about you. They see the calm in your presence, the power in your stillness, the authority in your words. That is the strength of someone who has mastered silence. And here's the truth: silence is not passive, it is active. It is a choice you make every single day. When you choose not to check your phone first thing in the morning, that's active silence. When you choose to turn off the TV and sit with your thoughts, that's active silence. When you choose to meditate, journal, pray, or just breathe deeply without reacting to the world, that's active silence. Every act of silence is an act of focus, a declaration that your clarity matters more than the chaos outside. You begin to notice something else as well. Once you create silence, the noise doesn't have the same power over you anymore. What used to distract you now bounces off. What used to drain you no longer reaches you. You realize that external chaos only has as much authority as you give it. And when you stop giving it attention, you take back your power. Build unshakable routines that anchor your attention daily is not about creating a schedule for the sake of order. It is about designing a system that makes focus automatic. In a world full of noise and distractions, willpower alone will not save you. Willpower fades, motivation rises and falls, but routines create consistency regardless of how you feel in the moment. When you build unshakable routines, you are building guardrails for your mind, structures that protect you from chaos and anchor you to what matters most. Most people live scattered lives because their days are unstructured. They drift from task to task, pulled by whatever feels urgent or whatever makes noise at the moment. They never take control of the rhythm of their life, and so the world decides it for them. To become focused in a noisy world, you must take command of your daily rhythm by constructing routines that strengthen your discipline and protect your energy. The most successful people on the planet are not those who rely on bursts of inspiration. They are those who rely on routines. Athletes do not wonder whether they will train today. They have set routines that make training automatic. Writers do not wait for a perfect wave of creativity. They have writing routines that bring them to the desk whether they feel ready or not. Leaders do not wait until their minds are scattered to create clarity. They have morning routines that anchor them before stepping into the battlefield of decisions. Routines are the hidden power behind consistency, and consistency is the foundation of focus. Without them, you are vulnerable to noise, vulnerable to the chaos of a world that will always try to pull you off course. Building unshakable routines starts with mornings. The way you begin your day dictates the strength of your focus for everything that follows. If you wake up and immediately give your attention to your phone, to social media, to messages and distractions, you have already surrendered your clarity. But if you wake up and step into a deliberate routine that grounds you, whether it's meditation, prayer, exercise, journaling, or simply sitting in silence, you are sending a message to your mind and to the world: my focus belongs to me, and I will decide how my day begins. That decision compounds. One strong morning routine becomes the anchor for all the choices that follow. You build momentum, you build discipline, and you build focus that carries into every task. Evenings matter just as much as mornings. Too many people carry the noise of the day straight into their nights. They stay on their phones until they fall asleep, letting their mind marinate in chaos instead of clarity. But champions close the day with routines that reset their mind, routines that help them prepare for rest and renewal. This could be writing down 3 wins of the day, planning tomorrow's priorities, or simply taking time to reflect and disconnect. When you own your nights, you take control of how you enter your mornings. That cycle, evening into morning, morning into day, becomes a fortress of focus when protected by strong routines. But routines are not just about start and end. They also anchor you in the middle of chaos. In the middle of the day, distractions will come. Emergencies will try to steal your attention. Noise will try to break your flow. This is where micro routines save you. A 5-minute breathing practice before big meetings, a short walk between tasks to reset your brain, a ritual of reviewing your goals before diving back into work. These are not small acts. They are tactical moves that shield your focus from fragmentation. Without these resets, your attention scatters and your energy drains. With them, your clarity stays intact even when the world around you is pulling you in every direction. Building unshakable routines requires sacrifice. You cannot create routines if you are unwilling to let go of the habits that weaken you. Staying up late, scrolling endlessly, starting the day without intention, multitasking across distractions, filling every silence with noise. These habits destroy focus. To build routines that anchor your attention, you must cut away the patterns that sabotage it. Discipline is subtraction before it is addition. You subtract what drains you so you can add what strengthens you. This is why routines are not glamorous. They are often simple, repetitive, and unexciting. But that simplicity is their power. They don't need to impress you, they need to serve you. They don't need to entertain, they need to anchor. Unshakable routines are also about identity. When you repeat a routine long enough, it becomes a reflection of who you are. A person who meditates every morning no longer has to think, I should meditate. They become someone who naturally chooses silence at the start of the day. A person who writes daily no longer struggles with the question, do I feel creative today? They simply write because it's part of their identity. Routines transform your self-image, and your self-image transforms your focus. When you see yourself as a disciplined, focused person anchored by strong routines, you naturally repel noise and distraction. You don't need to fight them as much because they no longer align with who you are. The strength of routines lies in their ability to create flow. The brain loves rhythm. It thrives on predictable patterns that reduce decision fatigue. Every time you follow a routine, you remove unnecessary decisions. You no longer waste energy deciding when to work out, when to write, when to read, when to reflect. You simply follow the rhythm you've created. This frees your mental energy for what truly matters, the deep work, the creative thinking, the problem solving that requires your best focus. Without routines, your brain is constantly burning energy on small choices, leaving you drained when it's time to handle big challenges. With routines, those small choices disappear and your clarity sharpens for the tasks that define your future. Noise will always try to disrupt routines. Unexpected events, shifting schedules, other people's demands will push against your structure. That's why routines must be unshakable, built not on fragile motivation, but on principles you refuse to compromise. You must decide that your morning routine is non-negotiable. Your reflection time is sacred. Your energy rituals are untouchable. Protect them like you would protect your most valuable possessions, because they are. Your routines are not just habits, they are the foundation of your clarity, your focus, and ultimately your legacy. To build unshakable routines, you must also understand the power of small beginnings. People often fail because they try to build perfect routines overnight. They overwhelm themselves with complexity and then quit. But focus is built on gradual strength. Start with one routine, master it, make it non-negotiable. Add another, then a layering until your day becomes a chain of strong anchors. Over time, those small routines compound into unstoppable momentum. What once felt difficult becomes automatic. What once felt forced becomes natural. What once felt like discipline becomes identity. Routines also train your nervous system. Your body begins to associate certain times, spaces, and actions with focus. When you step into your workspace after following your pre-work ritual, your brain recognizes the pattern and prepares for deep focus. When you follow your evening wind down routine, your body recognizes the cues and prepares for rest. You no longer fight yourself. You flow with the rhythm you've created. This is why unshakable routines feel so powerful. They align your body, your mind, and your energy with clarity, eliminating the friction of scattered living. Most people fail to realize that without routines, their focus is always up for auction. Whoever shouts loudest, whoever sends the most urgent message, whoever creates the biggest distraction wins their attention. But with unshakable routines, you anchor your attention to what truly matters before the world has a chance to claim it. You own your mornings. You protect your nights. You structure your days. You stop reacting. You start leading. You stop chasing noise. You start building clarity. Eliminate distractions with ruthless discipline is about making a choice that most people are too afraid to make because it requires cutting away the very things they've become addicted to. Distractions are not small inconveniences. They are silent killers of focus, clarity, and long-term achievement. They come dressed in the disguise of urgency, comfort, or entertainment. But their true purpose is to rob you of the energy and attention you need to build the life you want. If you are serious about living with focus in a noisy world, you cannot afford to treat distractions casually. You must treat them like enemies that want to steal your time, because that is exactly what they are. And when something is an enemy, you do not negotiate with, you do not excuse it, you eliminate it with ruthless discipline. Most people don't realize how much distractions drain them because they've normalized it. They scroll their phones for just a few minutes that turn into an hour. They switch from one task to another, never giving their full attention to anything. They allow notifications to break their flow 10, 20, 30 times a day, and then they wonder why they feel exhausted, unfocused, and unproductive. Every distraction, no matter how small, carries a cost. It breaks the flow of your thinking, forces your brain to reset, and steals minutes that compound into hours, days, and even years of wasted potential. What seems harmless in the moment becomes devastating over time. Ruthless discipline means acknowledging this truth and choosing to cut distractions at the root. It means turning off notifications, not just muting them. It means setting boundaries with people who constantly pull you into meaningless conversations. It means deleting apps that are engineered to hijack your brain. It means deciding that your purpose is more valuable than temporary amusement, that your vision is worth more than momentary escape. This kind of discipline feels extreme to the undisciplined. But to those who are serious about their goals, it is the only way. You cannot expect to live a focused life if you constantly surround yourself with temptation. Imagine a professional athlete training for the biggest game of his career while keeping junk food stacked in the locker room. Sooner or later, the temptation breaks him. The same is true for distractions. If your phone is within reach while you're trying to focus, if your desk is cluttered with distractions, if your environment is filled with noise, you are fighting a battle you will eventually lose. Discipline is not just about resisting temptation. It is about redesigning your environment so the temptations never have a chance to win. That is what ruthless elimination looks like. But eliminating distractions is not just physical, it is also mental. Some of the most dangerous distractions live inside your own mind. overthinking, self-doubt, worry, replaying the past, or fantasizing about the future. These mental distractions are as destructive as the external ones. They rob you of presence, they scatter your attention, they keep you from diving deep into the task at hand. Ruthless discipline here means training your mind to recognize when it is drifting and bring it back. It means practicing meditation, mindfulness, or focused breathing to strengthen your mental muscles. Just as an athlete trains his body, you must train your mind to stay anchored in the present moment. Where true focus exists, noise also comes disguised as opportunities. Sometimes distractions are not obvious wastes of time. They look like good things. Invitations, projects, requests from people who mean well but do not align with your vision. Saying yes to everything is the quickest way to dilute your focus. Discipline requires the courage to say no, not because the opportunity is bad, but because it is not aligned. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't serve your purpose, you are saying no to the thing that does. Ruthless elimination of distractions is also ruthless prioritization. It's the ability to choose what matters most and protect it at the cost of everything else. There's a reason why the most successful leaders, athletes, and creators are often described as obsessive. Their obsession is not random. It's the result of eliminating everything that does not serve their goal. Kobe Bryant wasn't distracted by parties or pointless activities. He was obsessed with basketball. Steve Jobs wasn't distracted by endless product ideas. He was obsessed with simplicity and focus. Greatness requires the courage to live differently, to look at what everyone else is giving their time to, and decide that you will not. That's ruthless discipline in action. One of the greatest lies people tell themselves is that they can balance focus and distraction, that they can live in the noise and still produce clarity. But you cannot serve two masters. If distraction owns part of you, it will eventually own all of you. Focus requires exclusivity. It demands that you cut ties with the very things you think you need for comfort or entertainment. It means sacrificing the easy dopamine of endless scrolling for the deeper satisfaction of progress. It means rejecting the comfort of multitasking for the discipline of single tasking. Multitasking feels productive, but is actually distraction multiplied. Discipline is choosing to go deep on one thing, even when your mind craves variety. That choice separates those who dabble from those who dominate. Ruthless elimination of distractions also requires awareness of how environments are designed to control you. Technology companies hire scientists to engineer apps that hijack your brain's reward systems. Social media platforms are built to keep you scrolling, not to serve your purpose. Advertisers spend billions to invade your focus with noise you didn't ask for. If you don't recognize this, you will live as prey in a system designed to feed on your attention. But once you see it, you can fight back. You can delete apps, block websites, create focused workspaces, and reclaim your mind. That is discipline, choosing to take back control in a world built to steal it. Eliminating distractions doesn't mean your life becomes dull or rigid. It means your life becomes intentional. Instead of wasting time on meaningless noise, you free yourself for what truly excites you, your goals, your passions, your growth. The discipline that looks like sacrifice in the moment becomes freedom in the long run. Freedom from wasted time, freedom from regret, freedom from the frustration of knowing you could have done more. When distractions no longer own you, you become unstoppable. You move with clarity, you act with power, and you create with consistency. Discipline is built through repetition. You cannot eliminate distractions once and expect victory forever. They will keep returning. They will keep testing your commitment. Every time you choose focus over distraction, you strengthen your discipline. Every time you remove a temptation, you make the next choice easier. This is why it must be ruthless, because anything less leaves room for weakness. Every compromise is a crack in the wall of your focus, and noise will always find a way through cracks. Ruthless discipline means sealing those cracks before they grow. Train your mind to choose long-term vision over short-term noise is about mastering one of the most difficult battles a human being will ever face. The battle between impulse and purpose. Every single day, the world tempts you with distractions that promise immediate satisfaction. The quick laugh from a video, the temporary high of a like on social media, the fleeting comfort of procrastination. These things feel good for a moment, but they rob you of the momentum you need to reach your highest potential. On the other side lies vision, the long-term, powerful, unshakable purpose that calls you toward growth, achievement, and impact. The problem is that vision is slow. It demands patience, sacrifice, and consistency. Noise is fast, easy, and seductive. To live with true focus in a noisy world, you must train your mind like a warrior to choose the path of vision over the trap of noise again and again until it becomes second nature. This training does not happen overnight. Your brain is wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain. And short-term noise delivers pleasure instantly. That's why it feels so difficult to ignore distractions. But discipline is about reprogramming those instincts. It's about teaching yourself that the delayed reward of vision is always worth more than the immediate pleasure of noise. Think about an athlete preparing for the Olympics. Every day, they wake up and face the temptation to rest, to eat whatever they want, to skip training. The noise of comfort screams louder than the quiet call of purpose. But the champion trains their mind to see beyond the moment, to remember the vision of standing on the podium, to feel the pride of years of sacrifice paying off. That vision becomes stronger than the noise, and that is what separates them from the rest. Training your mind in this way requires clarity of vision. You cannot resist short-term noise if you don't know what long-term goal you're chasing. Too many people fall into distractions, not because they are weak, but because they are unfocused. When your mind doesn't have a target, it becomes easy prey for noise. That's why the first step is to define your vision clearly. What do you want to achieve? Who do you want to become? What impact do you want to leave? The sharper your vision, the stronger your resistance to noise. Every time temptation arises, you can remind yourself, this momentary pleasure is not worth the sacrifice of my long-term purpose. That simple act of remembering strengthens your discipline and retrains your instincts. Long-term vision is not just about goals, it is about identity. It's about becoming the kind of person who values progress over pleasure, who values growth over comfort. When you identify as someone committed to your vision, short-term noise begins to lose its grip on you. You no longer see it as harmless entertainment. You see it as an obstacle to your destiny. The language you use changes. You stop saying, I can't have this distraction. And you start saying, I don't choose this distraction. That shift is powerful because it reinforces the identity of a person who chooses vision over noise. Every time you make that choice, your identity as a disciplined, focused individual grows stronger. This battle is visible everywhere. In health, the noise of unhealthy food competes with the vision of strength and vitality. In business, the noise of quick profits competes with the vision of building something that lasts. In relationships, the noise of temporary gratification competes with the vision of trust and commitment. In personal growth, the noise of comfort competes with the vision of mastery. Those who train their minds to choose vision consistently rise above the rest because they understand that greatness is not built in one dramatic moment, but in thousands of small choices where vision defeats noise. The training itself is a daily practice. Just as you train muscles in the gym by pushing them against resistance, you train your mind by pushing it against distractions. Every time you resist the urge to check your phone while working, you are building the muscle of focus. Every time you wake up early to work on your dream instead of sleeping in, you are strengthening your ability to choose vision. Every time you invest in learning Instead of wasting hours on meaningless noise, you are proving to yourself that long-term clarity matters more than short-term impulses. These repetitions compound. Over weeks, months, and years, you transform from someone easily swayed by noise into someone unshakably committed to vision. Patience is a crucial part of this process. Vision is long-term by nature, which means the results will not appear immediately. That delay is where most people quit. They trade the invisible progress of discipline for the visible dopamine of distractions. But patience is the shield that protects your vision during the seasons where nothing seems to be happening. You keep choosing the long-term path, trusting that the compounding of disciplined choices will eventually reveal results far greater than anything noise could have given you. Patience does not mean waiting passively. It means persisting actively without needing immediate proof. Another key to training your mind is visualization. The brain cannot easily distinguish between something vividly imagined and something experienced. When you visualize your long-term vision with clarity, when you see it, feel it, embody it, you make it more real to your subconscious mind. That reality then competes directly with the pull of short-term noise. Instead of only feeling the instant gratification of a distraction, you also feel the satisfaction of your vision every time you choose discipline. This mental rehearsal makes the choice easier because your brain begins to associate focus with pleasure instead of pain. Champions use this technique constantly. They live their vision in their minds long before they achieve it. In reality, the world is not built to support long-term vision. It is built to profit from your short-term impulses. That's why you are bombarded with advertisements, notifications, endless entertainment, all engineered to pull your attention into the present moment and away from your future. If you don't train your mind, you will be consumed by this system. But if you do train your mind, you become immune. You begin to see through the traps. You no longer fall for the lure of noise because your vision is louder. You understand that every moment of discipline is a step towards something far greater than the temporary satisfaction the world tries to sell you. Ruthless honesty is part of the training as well. You must be able to admit when you've chosen noise over vision and correct it without excuses. Most people hide from this truth, justifying their distractions instead of confronting them. But honesty allows growth. When you acknowledge the moments you slipped, you give yourself the power to improve. The goal is not perfection. The goal is progress. Each time you catch yourself choosing noise and redirect to vision, you are strengthening your mental discipline. Over time, those corrections become automatic. Another powerful tool is accountability. When you declare your vision to others and surround yourself with people who value discipline, you raise your standards. It becomes harder to fall into noise when you know others expect you to rise above it. Champions surround themselves with other champions for this reason. They know that the environment you live in will either feed your vision or feed the noise. If you train alone in an environment full of distractions, your progress will be slow. But if you train in an environment where vision is the norm, your mind will adapt more quickly. The cost of not training your mind in this way is devastating. Look around and you will see people who gave their lives to noise. They chased every distraction, indulged every impulse, and now they wonder why they feel empty. They traded their future for temporary comfort. They gave away the possibility of greatness in exchange for fleeting pleasures. That is the price of choosing noise over vision. And it is a price you cannot afford to pay if you are serious about your purpose. The reward, on the other hand, is extraordinary. When you train your mind to choose vision over noise, you gain freedom. You are no longer controlled by impulses, you control them. You are no longer swayed by distractions, you ignore them. You are no longer addicted to the temporary, you are committed to the eternal. Your life becomes a testament to clarity, patience, and purpose. Others notice it. They see the strength in your discipline, the power in your focus, the determination in your choices. That influence spreads, inspiring others to silence their noise and live with vision too. Protect your energy by controlling who and what gets your time is one of the most important disciplines in building focus, because your energy is the fuel that powers every decision, every action, and every pursuit of your vision. Time is limited, but energy is even more fragile. You can have hours in your day, but if your energy is drained, those hours mean nothing. Too many people fail to recognize this truth and allow their energy to be stolen by people, tasks, and environments that don't serve their growth. They give their best hours to distractions, their best focus to negativity, and their best attention to demands that don't align with their goals. The result is burnout, frustration, and mediocrity. Protecting your energy is about drawing a line and deciding that not everyone and not everything deserves access to you. It is about recognizing that your energy is sacred, and if you don't guard it, the world will consume it without mercy. Every person in your life either adds to your energy or drains it. Some conversations leave you inspired, while others leave you exhausted. Some relationships push you forward, while others pull you back. Some people respect your time, while others treat it as if it belongs to them. If you want to build focus in a noisy world, you must learn to distinguish between these two categories. It doesn't mean cutting people out recklessly, but it does mean setting boundaries. It means limiting access to those who constantly take without giving. It means surrounding yourself with those who believe in your vision, encourage your growth, and challenge you to rise higher. The people closest to you shape your energy, and your energy shapes your focus. Protecting energy also means managing what you consume. Information is not neutral, it carries energy. The news you read, the shows you watch, the feeds you scroll through, all of these things leave an imprint on your mind. If you constantly consume negativity, gossip, and shallow entertainment, your energy will reflect that. Your mind will become scattered, anxious, and drained. But if you choose to consume knowledge, wisdom, and uplifting content, your energy becomes sharper, calmer, and more focused. What you feed your mind is as important as what you feed your body. Garbage in, garbage out. Discipline in, clarity out. Protecting your energy requires the courage to filter what you allow into your mind daily. Tasks are another silent thief of energy. People say yes to too many things and end up drowning in commitments that don't matter. Every unnecessary task drains focus and leaves you with less energy for the work that actually matters. Protecting your energy means mastering the art of saying no. No to tasks that don't align with your purpose. No to commitments that distract you from your goals. No to the illusion that being busy is the same as being productive. The world will always try to keep you busy because busy people are too distracted to chase vision. Focused people, however, guard their energy fiercely and invest it only where it brings the highest return. Your physical state also plays a role in energy. You cannot expect mental clarity if your body is constantly fatigued. Sleep, nutrition, and exercise are not luxuries. They are non-negotiable foundations of energy. When you neglect them, distractions become harder to resist, focus becomes harder to sustain, and clarity becomes harder to find. Protecting your energy means respecting your body. It means fueling it with foods that sustain you, training it so it remains strong, and resting it so it can recover. Champions do not burn out because they understand energy is a cycle. Exertion must be balanced with renewal. Protect your body and your body will protect your focus. Environments are another critical factor. Certain spaces drain energy simply by being chaotic, noisy, or cluttered. Others inspire focus through calm, order, and intention. If your environment constantly bombards you with noise, your energy will scatter. Protecting your energy requires creating environments that support clarity. This could mean a clean workspace, a quiet room for reflection, or simply removing yourself from environments that drain you. The space you occupy, either amplifies your focus or diminishes it. You must choose intentionally. Protecting energy also demands emotional discipline. Anger, resentment, envy, and negativity are emotional distractions that drain more energy than any physical task. When you hold on to grudges or obsess over what others are doing, you are giving away your energy for free. Discipline here means letting go. It means refusing to waste mental space on things outside of your control. It means training yourself to respond with calm instead of reaction, to move forward instead of dwelling on setbacks. Emotional discipline is not about ignoring your feelings, but about refusing to let them control your energy. Technology is one of the biggest culprits in draining energy. Constant notifications, endless feeds, and the pressure to always be available destroy focus. Protecting your energy means reclaiming control over your devices. Turn off notifications. Set boundaries on your screen time. Create tech-free zones or hours. Use technology as a tool, not a master. When you control your devices, your energy becomes sharper. When your devices control you, your energy becomes fragmented. In a noisy world, digital discipline is essential for protecting focus. Energy leaks happen in small ways too: unfinished tasks, unresolved conflicts, cluttered spaces. Each one may seem minor, but together they create mental drag. Protecting your energy means closing loops. Finish what you start. Address what you've been avoiding. Clear the clutter in your space and in your mind. Every time you close a loop, you reclaim a piece of your energy. Every time you leave something unresolved, you drain it. Ruthless attention to these leaks can transform your focus. It is also vital to protect your energy by aligning your actions with your values. When you live out of alignment, doing things that conflict with what you believe, you drain energy because your soul feels divided. When your daily actions align with your deeper purpose, your energy flows naturally. This is why vision and values are so critical. Without them, you will constantly waste energy on things that don't matter. With them, every action feels purposeful, and purpose fuels energy more powerfully than anything else. Another key is learning recovery. Protecting energy doesn't mean never exerting yourself. It means balancing effort with renewal. Just as athletes recover between games to perform at their peak, you must build rhythms of rest and renewal. This could be time in nature, moments of silence, deep conversations with people who inspire you, or activities that recharge you mentally and spiritually. Renewal is not optional. It is the process that ensures your energy remains sustainable. Too many people push endlessly until they burn out, but champions rest strategically so their energy remains strong for the long haul. The discipline to protect energy also means guarding your focus from urgency. Not everything deserves an immediate response. Noise tries to convince you that everything is urgent, but most things are not important. Protecting your energy means slowing down, choosing what truly matters, and refusing to let the urgency of others dictate your priorities. It means recognizing that focus is about depth, not speed. You can't go deep if you are constantly rushing to handle shallow distractions. Protecting energy is slowing down enough to choose wisely where you spend yourself. The truth is that energy is your most valuable asset, even more than money or time. Money can be regained, time cannot, but energy determines how you use whatever time you have left. Two people can each have the same 24 hours, but the one with strong, protected energy will achieve more, create more, and live more fully than the one whose energy is scattered and drained. Protecting your energy is protecting your life force, the very essence that powers your purpose. When you learn to protect energy by controlling who and what gets your time, you stop living reactively and start living intentionally. You become deliberate about where your attention flows, careful about who has access to you, and wise about what you consume. The result is not just more focus, but more peace, more clarity, and more fulfillment. You stop being pulled in 1,000 directions and start moving powerfully in one. That is the gift of guarding your energy. It gives you back control of your life, your clarity, and your vision. Use stillness as a weapon to sharpen focus in a noisy world is one of the most counterintuitive yet powerful truths a person can embrace. We live in a culture that worships speed, activity, constant movement, and the illusion that business equals progress. People feel uncomfortable with stillness because they have been conditioned to believe that if they are not moving, they are falling behind. Yet the reality is that in the midst of noise, chaos, and constant demands, stillness is not weakness, it is strength. Stillness is the act of reclaiming control of your mind and your energy when the world tries to scatter it. It is the place where clarity is born, where decisions become sharper, and where your focus is sharpened like a blade. To use stillness as a weapon means to deliberately step into silence, into calm, into moments of intentional pause, and use them to cut through the noise that seeks to overwhelm you. The greatest warriors, athletes, and leaders understood this truth. They were not always charging forward blindly. They knew when to pause, when to breathe, when to still themselves so they could see the battlefield clearly. The samurai in Japan practiced meditation because they knew a calm mind was deadlier than a frantic one. Great athletes take deep breaths before critical moments because they understand that stillness centers their power. Leaders withdraw into solitude before making world-changing decisions because they know clarity is found in silence, not in noise. Stillness is not passive. It is a form of training, a sharpening of the mind, a preparation of the soul. When you are still, you are not doing nothing. You are gathering strength. You are aligning your focus, and you are preparing to strike with precision. In today's noisy world, people fear stillness because it confronts them with themselves. When you are still, the distractions fade, and what is left is your own mind, your doubts, your fears, your dreams, and your truth. Most people would rather drown in noise than face that reality. They fill every silence with scrolling, every quiet moment with chatter, every pause with distraction. But champions embrace stillness because they know it is in that space where growth happens. They sit in silence. They listen to their inner voice. They confront what others run from. Stillness becomes their weapon because it allows them to see what others cannot. While the world is busy reacting, they are calmly observing, preparing, and positioning themselves for victory. Stillness also resets your nervous system. When you live constantly in noise and chaos, your body is in fight or flight mode, flooded with stress and adrenaline. In that state, your focus is narrow, your energy is drained, and your clarity is clouded. But when you step into stillness through deep breathing, meditation, prayer, journaling, or simply sitting in silence, you bring your body back into balance. You move from reaction to response, from chaos to control. This physiological shift is not just about peace, it is about power. A calm nervous system gives you sharper focus, deeper creativity, and stronger resilience. Stillness literally equips your brain to perform at its best. Using stillness as a weapon means building it into your life deliberately. Just as you schedule work, training, and rest, you must schedule stillness. It can be a morning ritual of sitting quietly before the day begins, an afternoon walk without your phone, or an evening reflection before sleep. These moments of pause are not wasted time. They are strategic resets that sharpen your focus. They allow you to process experiences, connect dots, and see patterns you would miss in constant motion. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in history came not during frantic activity, but during still moments of reflection. Einstein discovered ideas while walking. Leaders received clarity in solitude. Innovators found inspiration in silence. Stillness is fertile ground for vision. It also sharpens decision-making. In noise, you are pressured to react quickly, to choose hastily, to move without thinking. But in stillness, you create space to see clearly. You separate urgency from importance, emotion from wisdom, impulse from strategy. A person who can pause in the midst of chaos holds the advantage over everyone else. While others rush into mistakes, you step back, gather clarity, and strike with precision. Stillness allows you to act less, but achieve more, because your actions are deliberate, not scattered. That is why stillness is a weapon. It gives you control when everyone else is losing theirs. Stillness also teaches presence. Most people live trapped between regret of the past and anxiety about the future, rarely experiencing the power of now. But focus can only exist in the present. You cannot concentrate fully if your mind is stuck in yesterday or worried about tomorrow. Stillness pulls you back into the moment. It anchors you in the now, where your true power lies. When you are present, distractions lose their grip because your attention is fully invested in the task at hand. Stillness cultivates the presence, training your mind to let go of the noise and engage with the moment completely. One of the most powerful aspects of stillness is that it conserves energy. Noise drains you because it demands constant reaction, but stillness restores you because it allows your energy to return. Think of a warrior sharpening his blade. He does not swing it endlessly until it dulls. He pauses to hone it, to restore its edge. Stillness is the sharpening of your blade. Without it, your focus dulls, your clarity fades, and your energy scatters. With it, you remain sharp, ready to cut through whatever chaos the world throws at you. To use stillness as a weapon requires discipline because the world will always try to pull you away from it. It will tell you that stillness is laziness, that you must always be moving, always be producing, always be reacting. But true discipline is not about doing more. It is about doing what matters. And sometimes what matters most is pausing, breathing, and sharpening your focus before moving again. The discipline to be still in a noisy world is rare, and that is why it is powerful. It sets you apart, giving you clarity and strength that noise can never provide. Stillness is also about listening, not just to your thoughts, but to your intuition, to your purpose, to the deeper wisdom that noise often drowns out. In stillness, you hear what truly matters. You hear the quiet guidance that reminds you of your vision. When the world tries to distract you, you hear the solutions to problems that seemed impossible in chaos. You hear the truth of who you are and what you are meant to do. That inner voice is easily lost in noise, but in stillness, it becomes clear. Listening in stillness is not passive. It is active engagement with your deepest self. The more you practice stillness, the more it becomes a habit and eventually an instinct. At first, your mind will resist. It will crave distraction. It will try to run from silence. But over time, with practice, you will learn to embrace it. You will learn to use it strategically before big decisions, before important tasks, before stepping into the noise of the world. Stillness will become your preparation, your anchor, your secret advantage. While others rely on constant motion to feel productive, you will rely on stillness to ensure that your motion is precise, meaningful, and effective. Noise will always exist. The world will never stop demanding your attention. But when you learn to use stillness as a weapon, noise loses its power over you. You are no longer tossed around by every sound, every demand, every distraction. You become steady, anchored, and clear. Your focus becomes sharper because it is forged in silence, not scattered by chaos. This is the paradox of stillness. By pausing, you become stronger. By being still, you prepare for greater action. By embracing silence, you create clarity that cuts through the loudest noise.